Throughout the month of January, we are recapping some of the top news stories for the past year, 2012, in our News in Review segments. Here is Sean Rose with part 2 of the 2012 review.
Welcome to this second segment of the JTV 2012 News in Review. I am Sean Rose. Let's begin with some top education news items in the year on the review. Education and Culture Minister Honorable Myron Walwyn disclosed that tourism, financial services, and Virgin Islands history will be taught in schools from September of 2012. In his message to mark the start of Education Week 2012, celebrated under the theme, Creating a Culture of Excellence Through Prevention, the minister spoke of efforts to save at-risk male students within the community and to motivate members of the teaching profession. The Education Minister also stressed the importance of reading and comprehension as the foundation for success in school and in life, while pointing out his concerns about students' writing style in text messages and on Facebook. In 2012, national exams and teacher surveys showed reading and comprehension as the main challenges for students in the public schools. In response, government launched a literacy campaign in the new school year.
Reading and comprehension is the basis for all learning. If we do not face this challenge head-on, we would put in jeopardy our entire education system and the future of our students.
Also in 2012, Education Minister Myron Walwyn outlined a new vision and philosophy for the education system, adopted from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Education Sector Strategy.
Our new grading standards will require students to attain at least a 4.5 grade point average on a scale of 9 for passing grades.
The $2.2 million Culinary Arts Center at the HLSCC was officially handed over to the Ministry of Education in October 2012, and Education Minister Walwyn said the center offers residents an opportunity to pursue career goals in the culinary field without having to leave the territory, and the establishment of a regional center for the culinary arts.
So the college can market this center and attract more students within and beyond the shores of the Virgin Islands.
Let's now move to some health-related stories in the year under review. A commitment was given by Premier Dr. Orlando Smith to ensure that the New People's Hospital is ready for commissioning this year, 2013.
Works on the interior of People's Hospital will resume in the coming weeks, with a schedule to commence the commissioning of that facility within the next 18 months.
The Premier said he was concerned about the way in which the hospital project was handled by the VIP administration. In 2012, government explored options for medical treatment abroad for patients in need of emergency attention, and Health Minister Ronnie Skelton said government was carrying a huge medical bill for patients who received treatment in St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, and Jacksonville, Miami. New board chairman of the BVI Health Services Authority, John Klein, disclosed that a bill in the region of $11 million was created by patients accessing local healthcare services and overseas emergency healthcare. Meanwhile, in the year under review, Honorable Skelton identified a 15-month timeline for the completion of the New People's Hospital. Skelton said the 15-month projection was inclusive of over $30 million worth of corrective work to be done. The BVI HSA met with some irate Virgin Gorda residents on August 29 at the Ashford Waters Community Center during a series of community meetings. Residents said they had been waiting for years for effective emergency service to take patients to Tortola.
When you're sick, I have helped them at night. Come, let's go to Beef Island. And when we get to Beef Island, we wait for 40 minutes for the ambulance. And we call them before we leave here.
In response, Health Services Authority Chairman John Klein pointed to the need for over $30,000 to repair an ambulance vessel and gave a timeline of 3 months to remedy the problem.
But before we get back here, the board will be in Virgin Gorda. So I would say give me 3 months.
In 2012, Governor Boyd McCleary in the throne speech spoke of plans by government to amend the current hospital policy that permits 10 categories of residents to be exempted from paying fees for healthcare service in order to address the BVI HSA revenue shortfall created by a $27 million dependency on government to subsidize its operational cost. The board's chairman, John Klein, told the August 29 Virgin Gorda meeting that the BVI has one of the lowest healthcare rates in the world. He also announced plans to review the fee structure. Also in 2012, government and A.R. Potter and Associates signed a contract for just over $300,000 for architectural engineering designs of a new Nurse Iris O'Neill clinic on Virgin Gorda to be developed in consultation with the BVI HSA and the Virgin Gorda community by the end of July 2013. Last year, Virgin Islands residents were told to expect the implementation of a national health insurance plan in August 2013. Roy Barry, charged with specific duties to head the NHI, says they are awaiting the passage of legislation and completion of the new Peebles Hospital project to proceed with implementation of the insurance plan. On the major crime scene in 2012, 16 closed-circuit television cameras were installed in various areas on Tortola, and another 13 were to be purchased to monitor movement and help prevent and identify crimes. 5 men wanted by the U.S. for their role in an alleged 13-year drug trafficking ring were spared extradition in 2012. Earl Hodge, Roberto Harrigan, Chad Skelton, Carlston Biza, and Juan Valdez were spared after Justice Albert Redhead overruled on September 17 a flawed March ruling by Senior Magistrate Valerie Stevens for the men to be extradited. Prison and police officers launched a manhunt in 2012 after prisoner Edward Beltran went missing from his cell at Her Majesty's prisons on September 11. 24-year-old Michael Jack was charged with the stabbing death of his 26-year-old brother Tishon Henley in November 2012, and just days before police charged 5 males in Virgin Gorda for the indecent assault of 2 female minors, National AIDS Program Coordinator Noeline Levons-Clark raised concerns about the prevalence of sexual abuse in the BVI.
A lot of students shared and it created an awareness about being raped. Sexual abuse is prominent in the BVA.
In other top news last year, Dr. Kedrick Pickering heard the concerns of residents as it relates to issues surrounding the Labor Department during a series of public meetings early in the year on the subject matter. The concerns shared by residents ranged from participating in the electoral process, residency, protecting indigenous people, advertising and filling of vacant positions, status of work permits, and more. Also in the year under review, work permit holders and persons on contract in the territory were able to obtain a driver's license without having to provide a valid work permit to the Department of Motor Vehicles following amendments to the Road Traffic Regulations Act. Government lowered the tax on goods imported into the territory in 2012 as it sought to reduce the cost of goods for sale to residents.
The $3.7 million in revenue foregone by the government of the Virgin Islands, we consider as an incentive to local businesses that should accrue benefits very soon.
Several employees of the BVI Ports Authority gathered at the Road Tongue Ferry Terminal to openly discuss concerns with Communication and Works Minister Mark Vanterpool in 2012. The issues ranged from vacation days, insurance for BVI employees, and overtime payment. Government signed an agreement with Tortola Port Partners Limited in March 2012 seeking to improve the Road Tongue cruise ship pier area. In July of that year, government announced plans for the proposed $75 million cruise pier development between government and the U.S. company Idea Inc. But on August 1st, government announced it was halting the project to open a tender process, which Premier Dr. Smith said was required by the protocols for effective financial management. Then in October of the year under review, Dr. Smith said 3 tenders were presented to Cabinet for review. Tortola Park Pier Group, GPL out of Miami, and a group associated with Royal Caribbean were the tenders. Bywater BVI Limited was still searching for a viable source of water in 2012. The Bywater contract signed under the VIP government in February 2010 stated that the UK-based water company would source water from wells in Parakeeta Bay. The UK company asked for an extension of their November 12 water delivery date and also sought permission from local planning authorities to access water from the sea through the mangroves in Parakeeta Bay. Premier Dr. Smith, in his 2013 budget address at the November 15 sitting of the House of Assembly, stated that the Bywater contract must be recorded by the BVI government not only as a contingent liability, but as a direct debt obligation on the balance sheets.
Proper and in-depth analysis must be done on major contractual agreements before the BVI government commits itself to such agreements.
This was shortly followed up with the signing of a contract with Sage Utilities Holdings to Return Ocean Conversion to operate the Borgers Bay desalination plant.
The contract for us is a 6-month contract. This is an interim measure until Bywater, who is contracted to produce water, is in the position to begin their production.
Government said it was considering a bridge structure as the solution for the extension of the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport, and also announced plans to begin work by January 2013. Minister responsible for the airport expansion, Dr. Kedrick Pickering, in his statement to the House of Assembly on September 3, 2012, stated that he explored contemporary and environmentally friendly designs for the runway extension, as well as the fixed base airport operations on the Portuguese island of Madeira and the Italian island Sardinia. Pickering said government was contemplating the same bridge structure technology in the Madeira's runway extension, using reinforced concrete columns.
Madam Speaker, the nature and scope of this project is similar to the challenges we face at the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport, though the scale in Madeira is approximately 10 times greater.
Also in the year under review, Dr. Kedrick Pickering, in his contribution to the 2013 budget debate in December, assured the territory that physical work on the airport expansion project will begin following the completion of the geotechnical studies and the submission of the final bids in early 2013. In early 2012, a seminar sponsored by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and the Joint Nature Conservation Committee held at the Treasure Isle Hotel looked at the economic value of the natural environment, and by year-end, Deputy Premier Pickering announced plans to establish a solar energy farm on Anegada. That's it for this second segment of the JTV 2012 News in Review. I am Sean Rose. See you next time.